Okay, it's been another month, or at least the past 17 days have been another month. Let's take a look at what I watched. My brother and his partner just got home, so if you hear the dogs going crazy, it's because people are here. What did I watch in June? Did I watch nothing on the 1st? I must have been really busy on the 1st. I can't remember what I did on the 1st of June. No, I can't remember. Does it matter? No. Okay, good. Let's move on then. On the 2nd of June, I watched A Bug's Life. I wanted a good education on what it's like to stand up to a fascist, so I watched A Bug's Life. Turns out, still slaps, 3.5 stars. On the 3rd, I did a double feature of Tarzan, that one of the guys in the jungle, he eats bugs. These were both on Blu-ray, Bugs Life and Tarzan. I just felt like watching Tarzan because I was like, I haven't watched Tarzan in years. I don't think I've even logged it on Letterboxd before. Bugs Life I have, so I rewatched it. Childhood classic, favorite. Still good, 4 stars. Definitely a musical. Don't know why anyone would disagree with me because, I mean, so much of the music tells the story. It's vital. You'd think it's like interwoven within the narrative because Phil Collins just fucking giving you some bangers. Anyway, also watched Hidden Pleasures from 1977. Wow, actually I did a triple feature that day. Holy shit. Hidden Pleasures and Confessions of a Congressman, both of which I gave 4 stars. I watched them as part of the Uranian Dreams 2 homosexual films by Eloy de la Iglesia? Yeah, Eloy de la Iglesia. Good films. Really interesting depictions of Spanish queer life, especially post the end of, again, a dictatorship. Shit, I hope that's not a theme this month. I don't think so, but still. I did a Blu-ray review, so go check that out. I lost a bunch of subscribers because I did that video, because, you know, bigots don't like when you talk about gay people for some fucking reason. Bunch of assholes. Anyway, not the gay people, the bigots. They can fuck off. I mean, it's fucking Pride Month. Why wouldn't I talk about gay movies? It's just like the thing. I should just do it more in general, but you know. On the 4th, I watched Never Been Kissed. That sounds real gay. Yeah, I wasn't big on the film. I gave it 3 stars. I don't like high school movies that much. Very few I actually really like. I watched it on, I think, Disney Plus. Was it Disney Plus or was it Netflix? Disney Plus. I gave it 3 stars. It's still bloody weird. Again, I was chatting to a mate about it, and I was just like, it's like Milan, but instead of not being a dude, she's not a teenager. So instead of, oh damn, I can't be gay, it's, oh damn, I can't be a pedophile. It's like, what the fuck is this movie? Also, I thought the teacher was Noah Wiley, and my mate was like, that's not Noah Wiley. And I'm like, oh yeah, it isn't. It's that other guy. I don't remember what the fuck. Oh, was he an Alias or something? Who gives a shit? On the 5th, I watched Brokeback Mountain. There's going to be a lot of queer-related films this month, so if you don't like that, or if you just don't like queer stuff in general, then get fucked. But just letting you know, because Pride Month, and, you know, there's a lot of queer films I haven't dived into before, and I want to, because cinema. Anyway, don't really need to defend myself, but it might trigger some people who don't like the queer stuff. Which, again, fuck off. So I watched Brokeback Mountain. I gave it 4.5 stars. Fucking good fucking movie. I hadn't ever seen this before, so I was really happy about that. I was surprised how kind of quickly it gets into what it does and how different I expected the film to be. Also, I don't know why, like, homophobes would hate this movie. Like, did nobody realize Anne Hathaway's in this fucking movie? Like, oh my god, she's fucking stunning in this film. I mean, you also see her tits, but at the same time, like, you know, batting in both circles here. So, yeah. Good fucking cast. Who'd have thought it? On the 6th, I watched Meet Me in St. Louis. I'm really riding the line here, aren't I? Because I got the Warner Archive Blu-ray in, and I've been wanting to watch it since I listened to Lee talk about it in a podcast. He said, like, the Halloween sequence was genuinely terrifying to him, and I was like, okay, and I was like, I watched the film. It takes place, like, over the course of a year, so it's considered a holiday film because they have Halloween and Christmas in it. And it's really nice. It looks really fucking good. Judy Garland is just tremendous in it. The girl who plays, it's Margaret O'Brien. I think she won an Oscar or some shit for this movie. She is fucking insane. The Halloween sequence actually was genuinely bizarre. Like, I've never seen anything like that in a Halloween-like film before, because it's not a traditional trick-or-treating, because it's set in 1903, and instead they're just, like, throwing flour on people, which is kind of just tricking people, and their treat is they get to do a bonfire. I'm like, that's fucking banging. I'm wholeheartedly down for throwing flour on people and then lighting a bonfire. That sounds great. This was a triple feature all on a Friday. I also did Predator, Killer of Killers, which is brand new to Disney+. Luckily, my 4K subscription was still applied, so it looked fantastic. Except that I don't like the animation style completely. I gave it 3.5 stars. It's an interesting film all of its own, like an anthology, but then loops into the end, which then sets up for the next film, which is coming out later this year, Badlands. So great, but I'll take more Predator stuff. I fucking love those films. So there's only like one bad one, and Shane Black made that film of all the fucking people. But yeah, so I don't like the animation as much because mostly during the Viking section at the start, I don't like the choppiness of it, where they're just like, oh, we're just gonna not have a couple frames in here. I'm like, fuck off, I don't like that. Spider-Verse doesn't, I don't like it either. Like, I still like it, but I don't like it at the same time. It can get some getting used to. It's just not my cup of tea when it comes to animation, but it still looks really interesting. It's got some interesting characters, so yeah. A lot of people didn't like the American segment, which I found to be really funny, because like the other two segments, there's rarely much talking, and if it is, it's in a different language, and then people are like, I don't like the American guy, because he won't shut the fuck up. I'm like, yeah, he's American. Doy. Anyway, I watched Devil Girl from Mars from 1954, gave it 2 stars. Real boring. This was part of the Tales from Adventure collection number 5, which I've now finished watching because I watched all of those this month. It's not great. I mean, it's very... Kim Newman's essay on it was very interesting, how it's like, she doesn't even seem like a Martian. It's just an S&M. She's just into S&M. A woman arrives in latex to an inn in Scotland, and everyone's like, she's definitely from Mars, and I guess she just rolls with it. It's a very small location. The dread from the character doesn't really prevail as much. Oh, look, she can shoot a few people. I missed the Day the Earth Stood Still. That was such a good fucking movie. Anyway, Devil Girl from Mars is fine. It's got that interesting lead performance again from the Martian girl. I think I mentioned who she was played by in my review. Probably not. No, I don't. Their robot in this movie is a big refrigerator. It looks like shit. Patricia Laffin, who plays Nia, or Naya. I think it's Naya. But, yeah, she was, like, great, but she shouldn't have been in this movie. She's doing a performance for a different movie, not for this one, so that's not great. Anyway, on the 7th, because I think I'd been out all day working and I wanted to rewatch one of my favourite films, I rewatched Love Serenade, my favourite Australian film. Gave it 5 stars, courtesy of The Umbrella, Sunburnt Screens, Blu-ray, which I'm pretty sure is a 4K restoration, but it doesn't stipulate it on the disc. Also, again, I hate that there's no audio commentary. It's only on my old DVD, which fucking pisses me off, because I still have the DVD, because I'm not an idiot. But, yeah, just ridiculous. But beautiful movie, really funny, just a constant delight to watch, and I highly recommend it to anyone who watches it. Just one of those great small-town, weird people kind of things. It's great. It's even kind of funnier when you look at it, realize that, A, it's set in Victoria and filmed in Victoria. I could go to where it was filmed. I can do that. It's only 6 hours of a drive. It's at the very border, near New South Wales. Nevertheless, the opposite side of the state to where I'm at. Who'd have thought it? But there's just all this just funny stuff that there's only like 4 characters in the movie, and yet there's like a couple scenes where they're in town and there's still people there, and it's just like, so these just people are just so isolated to their own lives that they just don't interact with anyone else, and I think that that's just how fucking weird they are in contrast to everyone else, which I really like. I think that's hilarious. So anyway, on the 8th, I watched Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, again, the Warner Archive Blu-ray. I watched the unrated cut, which apparently is a lot better than the theatrical cut. Holy shit, I can't imagine this movie without the gore, but also this movie is lacking enough gore. I even watched it with its alternate ending. I also watched it with the Soares family making Leatherface. I gave the film 2 stars. I wasn't big on it. I don't really. This is the first actual Texas Chainsaw sequel I've watched where I haven't liked it at all. Like, obviously, I love the original. I've seen it several times. The second one I saw once at the Astor and was like, that was really fun, but so very strange. And I watched the 2022 film, which I was also like, that was really fun. I can't believe people hate this movie. So I'm up and down as to whether I should watch any more Texas Chainsaw films. Again, I almost picked up Texas Chainsaw 3D the other day at an op shop, but it was $48 and it was in pretty shitty conditions. I was like, yeah, probably not. But Arrow's also announced that they're doing the 2000s films like Texas Chainsaw Massacre or... Yeah, I think it's just Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning. So I still got to watch... I might get those. I've still got to get the Next Generation as well. So there's a couple things. A couple of those films I'm still needing to watch. I think they did a couple in the 2010s as well. I don't know. I don't see what the fucking point of these movies are. I enjoy the first one. I don't think they ever should have made a sequel, but at least the two sequels I've watched I've enjoyed, and this one being the third film, which kind of acts more as a remake, annoyingly, because it doesn't make any sense as to how any of these events can happen when the events of the previous two films have happened. So yeah, not great for that reason, but I do have a friend who was like, well, if you watch it as a film that's like kind of basically a remake, which I kind of wish people would have said that. If you watch it as a remake, it's kind of its own thing. It's got no real context to the other films, and that's true, it does. It's, yeah, I didn't care that much for it. Anyway, I'm talking too much about this movie. On the 10th, I watched The Gamma People, which I gave 3 stars. I thought it was just fine. It's a decent political thriller that, again, is about a fascist dictator in a European country. Oh my god, what the fuck? Anyway, it was meant to be a film about, like, Hitler Youth becoming, like, drones and whatever, and instead they're like, we've waited too long to make this. Let's just set it in the 50s, and it's kind of like just Eastern European-ish. Interesting. It's got some nice dread to it. The monsters, per se, are interesting and aren't overly utilized, but I feel like are maybe a bit underutilized. The villain is fine. The ending was kind of funny. Also really surprisingly kind of gay. A little bit. Like, it's like, oh, 2 gay guys go to Salzburg to film a parade, and then they accidentally get derailed and go into a little fascist community. Who'd have thought it? So, yeah, pretty good. I enjoyed it. Part of the imprint set that I mentioned earlier. And it also comes with, as a special feature, The Underwater City from 1962, which has Julie Adams, of all fucking people, where it's basically just, what if we build a city underwater and then do nothing for, like, the rest of the movie? And look, there's one guy who's an alcoholic, and he's gonna find a shipwreck and get booze and get drunk. And then the next time he does that, they realize they built it on a fault and the whole entire place is going to collapse. Probably very soon, but first we have to watch a giant squid fight a giant eel. Because 50s movies, actually this is the 60s, but still. Remember giant monsters where it was just two real animals fighting and they just superimpose people on the front? Yeah, it's pretty fun. Anyway, the movie's not great. I gave it 2 stars. It's just kind of meh. It's a bonus feature. It's in standard definition. It's fine. It's just nothing to write home about. It's a bad version of Bioshock, basically. Anyway, on the 11th, I went on the Criterion Channel and watched Debs, which was part of their queer selection, because the main romance is between 2 lesbians, which is actually the best part of the film. It's actually really interesting, and it just was a good character story. I'm like, wow, this part is great. Why does the rest of this movie kind of suck, though? Like everyone on Letterboxd fucking clamoring for this fucking movie. I guess if your movie is so cult audience that only, like, queer people who will just give 5 stars to any fucking movie that has queer stuff in it. I'm not that kind of person. Like, I'm sorry, that's just not my cup of tea. If the movie's not fucking good, I'm not gonna give it 5 fucking stars just because of the gays. Like, fuck off. You know, I at least try to put some objective perspective into my goddamn perspective of these movies, and I just didn't enjoy the film. I gave it 2 stars. I'm like, the romance is great. Those characters, their dynamic is great. But this just feels like a movie for children. And it's stupid and bad, and it's a bad version of Spy Kids. It's got so much green screen stuff, it's fucking obnoxious. Fun to watch on the Criterion Channel, at least, I'll give it that, but, like, my god, I probably won't ever watch this movie again. again, it's not a well-received film in general. It's just that it now has a cold audience, and the cold audience keeps sucking on its dick. So, I'm just like, all right, sure, you do you, but I'm just like, I'm gonna go home. Oh, wait, I already am home. I haven't left. Anyway, on the 12th, I watched Negatives. This is from 1968, which I actually did a Blu-ray review on. I gave the film 3.5 stars. Really interesting debut by Peter Medic from 1968. I think I mentioned that. Great 4K scan. Again, did a Blu-ray review talking about the special features and everything, so go check that out. I have not yet watched the one about the sparrows, which is something sparrows. I can't remember. Brain not working today. It's a bonus feature on the disc. It's just a bonus film. It's a 2-disc set. It's a limited edition set. Anyway, on Friday the 13th, because apparently it's the only Friday the 13th we're getting this year, I was going to double feature Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X, because I got the 4Ks in from Arrow, but instead I just watched Jason Goes to Hell, just rewatched it with the unrated cut on 4K, still giving it 3.5 stars. It has pacing issues. Narratively, it's not the most interesting for the first half of the movie, because the first half is just doing some minor setups and then also being like, oh, this is a Friday the 13th movie. Look, there's a camp scene. Look, here's the best sex scene in the whole entire series and also the most brutal death scene in the whole entire series. Holy shit. The unrated cut goes fucking hard. But it really pushes the story back. The story doesn't really start till like the 45-minute mark. Roughly 45 minute mark in a 90-minute long film. So you have to wait halfway throughout the film for the plot to kick in. And then when it does, it kind of dwindles a bit, and then there's a scene in a police station, and from then on, it just keeps going up and up and up and up and up. Basically, when Jason is possessing multiple people in quicker succession, including a boyfriend who you think would be a much more developed character as the journalist who's utilizing the fact that he's dating the relative of Jason Voorhees, whatever. I don't think he even knows that, but still, like, to be like, wow, look, Jason Voorhees is back, or maybe I'm going to exploit the fuck out of this because I'm an asshole, and then instead he just gets possessed by Jason, which I kind of like. It's still not a perfect movie. There's some weird shit in it. There's some stupid shit. I love that they're like, yeah, fuck it, what if Jason's maybe attached to the Necronomicon? They reference the Myers house. There's a Cunningham estate that they're in. Like, there's a bunch of Easter eggs and references that I really like. I don't know, it's just it's the only film in the series where it actually is just like kind of very meta on its own self. Like, it's, except for how Jason X has that, scene where they have to distract Jason, and so they make a hologram of a campfire scene with two girls that are half naked, and he beats them to death, and that's hilarious. This one is more of like referencing horror history as a whole and trying to build this Jason universe into some kind of bigger mythos, which I think was really interesting. That's why I really like this film, because it's so different to the rest of them. Like, I don't like every single one of my slashers being exactly the same. But, of course, if you want all of your fucking slashers to be exactly the same, and I love the Friday the 13th series. It's my favorite slasher film series. But a little bit of difference goes a long way sometimes. Like, I can really like that. It's like watching Jason Takes Manhattan, and you're like, oh yeah, it's just Alien for the first half, and then the second half he's in Manhattan, and it kind of sucks. Like, the Manhattan stuff is the stuff that sucks in that movie, kind of. There's some iconic stuff, but most of it sucks. But at least with Jason Goes to Hell, it's like they're doing something different, or at least trying to, if they weren't homaging too much of the other previous Jason films again, like going to Camp Crystal Lake and, having the elongated part of them setting up to capture Jason and to blow him up and then to eat his heart and then the possession happens. If they got through that stuff a bit quicker and got to the main story a bit more, of like the main story really related to those, like the main characters really related to that part of the story, like, I don't know, one of the doctors is like the main character or whatever, or like there was some relation to it, or more urgency, or that character you follow for the first half, and he's getting chased by the Jason-possessed doctor, and then he ends up getting killed, but he's told, like, the boyfriend of the main character, even though he is the main character, the boyfriend of the mother, who gives a shit? If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. The guy who is the main character, if he, you had the urgency and you got that, like, kind of psycho kind of thing where you think you're following this guy for the whole movie, and then they get killed by Jason, or maybe even possessed, but probably just killed, and then you follow the other character, and then you know what the story is from there. And they have more interest and impact in the story because they're like the father of, the person that Jason wants to, they're dating the person that Jason wants to possess, to rebirth Jason, which is also a really silly scene, but it doesn't matter. It's a fun movie. It's stupid, but it's fun. But it's like all the Jason films. They're stupid but fun, Anyway, then on the 14th, instead of doing the triple feature, we only stayed for 2 of the 3. This is myself and Caitlin at the Cinemaniacs. We went to see the Araki trilogy, the teen apocalypse trilogy from the 90s. This is Totally Fucked Up, The Doom Generation, and Nowhere. Didn't watch Nowhere. It's on the Criterion channel. Hopefully I'll watch it this week. But we watched Totally Fucked Up. Gave it 3 stars. Really interesting. Very dark for a lot of it. But an interesting visual style, interesting narrative style. Definitely interesting film in general, but still very low budget 90s. But I liked it. It had a good appeal to it. I think Rob setting up, he had a talk, because that's what we do at the Cinemaniacs. Someone does a presentation before the movie, and his presentation gave a lot of insight into the history leading up to these films, so that was great. And again, you can always go down to the description and go into the Patreon and take a look at the Patreon. I actually filmed it this time. I filmed his whole speech, so that's great. Recorded it with my own equipment because Phil wasn't there. So anyway, but yeah, Totally Fucked Up was quite fun, 3 stars, and The Doom Generation was a lot more interesting of a film, a lot more budget, a lot more stuff at you, much funnier. 4 stars, except the last 3 minutes are just the last 3 to 5 minutes are just awful to watch. I was tired by the end of that film. So was Caitlin. We both wanted to leave, but also it was just she's already seen this trilogy before, and I'm like, I don't think I want to watch Nowhere yet because I'm not in the mood to watch this as a trilogy. They're trilogy in themes, but not in characters or anything. So each one of them has a lot of fun, but then ends with a really dark sequence at the end of each one. It's just why would I want to do that to myself 3 times in a row? So let's go. But it was fun. Look, I get to watch them for free, so I'm not going to complain. And they were produced by Umbrella, which was interesting. On the big screen, nice restorations. Probably the 4Ks from Criterion, but didn't have Criterion's logo, so noteworthy. Anyway, on the 15th, Helene and I, for her birthday, watched The Materialists, which I gave 4 stars, because Celine Song, good filmmaker, makes on film. Actual film. It's wonderful. Really interesting romantic kind of comedy. I thought it was hilarious. I don't know how intentional a lot of the comedy was, but I thought it was very funny. So a really interesting rom-com, but not in the traditional rom-com. It's an antithesis to the rom-coms of 20 years ago, which I think a lot of the ad campaigns were trying to make it seem like it's the rom-com from 20 years ago, but it ain't. It's better than that. It's grown up. And I mean, Dakota Johnson's great. Pedro Pascal's really interesting, and Chris Evans is really good. So it's a good trio. Really interesting film. Did not end where I thought it would end, and ends better than where I thought it would end. So yeah. On the 16th, I watched 50 First Dates because I found the Blu-ray at CEX for $5. So I watched it, and the disc worked. Thank God. I gave the film 3.5 stars. I've seen it kind of in full before. I logged it as a rewatch because I've seen it so many times, but never. I don't know if I've ever fully watched it, but even if I have, it doesn't matter. This is a full rewatch, full extent of the timeline context in a modern. I can remember what the fuck I've watched now, rather than just periods of it, just small sequences here and there. So, having now seen at least in my current mindset, in a full, what am I trying to say? Having now seen the full runtime, I like it. I gave it 3.5 stars. I'm pretty sure, again, I've seen all of it before years ago, and I've seen so many out of context clips before, but I just can't remember if I've seen the full movie, so who cares? I watched it, it was fun. Good enough for me. And on the 16th, I also gave 3.5 stars to The Witches of Eastwick from 1987, which was a Blu-ray release. I didn't find it as fun as I kind of wanted it to be. I expected more witchcraft. It's a lot more, just kind of social politics and stuff. It's not bad. The first half is just what if these 3 incredibly attractive women have sex with Jack Nicholson, which kind of sucks. But then the second half, they're like, hey, what if like they like learn to use their powers better and it becomes more fun? But also Veronica Cartwright in the film is fucking tremendous. Short-lived role, but really fun. So what else did I watch in the month? Woo. And then we have Clerks, which I gave 3 stars. Watched it from the DVD that I borrowed from my friend Caitlin. I've actually borrowed 1 and 2 from her because I had the one where they go to a mall and they're rats or whatever just coming in the mail. So I figured I should probably watch some Kevin Smith films. I thought it was alright. I gave it 3 stars. It's a very interesting film for what it's worth. There's a lot of characters in it that I just don't like, but at the same time, it makes the film more interesting because I'm like, I don't like these people. I don't think I enjoy this film as much. And I'm going to rate it low. But then I'm like, actually, they're just bad people. It's perfectly fine. Like, it's very much the everyday person who's just a fucking asshole. So, yeah. But it was interesting visual style. The narrative became much more interesting as it went along, which is good because I felt like it was maybe a bit too casual until it wasn't. And I kind of liked that there actually was a story, some weird absurdities to it, crazy characters and stuff like that. So, that was fun. On the same night, I watched The Fly, this one that's on my t-shirt. Mostly because I was doing my interview with Emma Westwood, and that's probably still to come out, actually. I don't know when I'm going to finish editing that. It's a 2-hour-long interview. But she had done a book on The Fly, so I was like, I gotta rewatch The Fly. And The Fly is fucking tremendous. I gave it 5 stars. I love this film. I've seen it twice now. So, not a great example, but like, I think I'd only seen it for the first time in like maybe 2019, 2020 period, but I gave it 5 stars. It's a perfect film. I've got no issues with it. It's just tight. It's to the point. It's like 96 minutes. It's just flies through it. No pun intended. And it's gruesome as shit. I love it. Wonderful. On the 18th, I watched Queer. This is the Luca Guadagnino film. I gave it 3.5 stars. My only issue with it mostly was I didn't care as much for the first act, but then the second and third I got more interested in it. I didn't like how vague some of it was, because if you don't know if like the guy who Daniel Craig's character is in love with is also queer. But that's kind of like the whole question throughout the whole film. Like, you purposely don't know a lot about this guy's character, and the vagueness is on purpose. But it's also written by the guy who did a book that was called Naked Lunch, and I've seen the adaptation, the Cronenberg version. I'm like, okay. Luckily, I read part of my friend's review while I was watching the film, because I'm like, this film ain't clicking for me. But then I read that part of the review and realized, oh, it's written by that guy. That makes so much more sense now. And of course, then they go to, like, I don't know, the Amazon or some shit and get high on fucking drugs. And I'm like, oh, okay, visually, incredible. But narratively, I get it now. It, like, is so loose and chaotic and weird, which might have been a joke on the queer, because queer means odd in some circles, but also because their characters are gay, but then some of them aren't. Instead of just calling the movie gay, the movie, or anything, it's very interesting. It's got a very interesting score. It's one that I definitely need to revisit because there's so much in it. But it's got a lot of interesting performances, very interestingly shot. Very beautiful film at times, but yeah, I wasn't as huge as I wanted to be into it, but I gave it 3.5. I still enjoyed it. On the same night, I watched A Fistful of Dollars, mostly because I was really debating getting the Arrow 4K, decided against it in the end. I'll hopefully wait for a standard edition to come out for the 4K. I don't need the limited editions for that, or Good, Bad, and the Ugly, or a few dollars more. Hadn't seen it. I've only seen Good, Bad, and the Ugly. But I watched Fistful of Dollars, and I'm like, this is just Yojimbo, but I don't know, with guns? Sure, and it's fine. I gave it 3.5 stars. I'm like, I've seen better westerns, I've seen better spaghetti westerns, and I've seen better Sergio Leone films. I have all of his films bar one, which is like impossible to get, on Blu-ray. So the only other films of his I haven't seen is Duck You Sucker, and which is also A Fistful of Dynamite, and for a few dollars more. So I haven't even seen the sequel to this movie, which is, I should. I still haven't yet as of recording, and I might watch it next month. But yeah, I still really liked it. The Blu-ray print was fine, sounded good, so I was happy with it. I'm like, I've had this Blu-ray for years now. I'm glad I finally watched it, and I didn't spend $75 to upgrade it. Holy shit. On the 19th, I watched 28 Years Later, which was fun. I gave it 3.5 stars. My friend Philip considers it to be the funniest review for the film, which I had come up with 3 days earlier. I literally wrote, "Oh, Danny Boyle, the iPhones are calling." Because it's like "Oh, Danny Boy," but it's kind of a pun. Anyway, I liked it. I gave it 3.5 stars. I'm very interested to revisit it because it's got such an interesting filming style on iPhones, but a lot of stuff. I definitely like it more than the second film. I don't like it as much as I do the first film, but yeah, it's just, again, 28 days is the one on top, then 28 years, then 28 weeks. I'm very excited for the Bone Temple and whatever the third film is, assuming that they make a third in this new trilogy. I really like the second half of the film, though. The first half of Aaron Taylor Johnson I wasn't so swept up in, mostly because stylistically it was very weird and whatever, but also I like how it's so different for zombie films. It's not a zombie film, it's just a plague film. It's apocalypse. It's not a zombie film. They're not zombies. They're not even undead. Holy shit. It's just a plague. It's a virus, and people still say it's zombies. I'm like, I know zombie films have viruses, but this one isn't a virus. This one isn't a zombie thing. This isn't them coming back from the dead. This is just people with, like, rabies. Like, anyway, it's the same as I Am Legend. They're not zombies, they're vampires. I'm going to piss some people off in the comments there. I would make a video, but I can't be bothered on it. Anyway, 28 years later, pretty good. Very excited for the sequel, excited to watch it again. But again, really like the second half. Jodie Comer, fantastic. Even though so underplayed at first, but then really shines. Ray Fiennes is fantastic. I'm so excited for the next one because Jack O'Connell was like, holy fuck, Jack O'Connell. Wonderful stuff. He's having a hell of a year. Ballerina, I watched that on the 21st. I was literally in between stuff because I had been watching Poker Face, whatever. I couldn't watch the new episode because I had to watch Michael Clayton. My car broke down, so I did the 2-hour interview with Emma on the Friday. Saturday, filmed more stuff, filmed the game, was meant to go to a wedding, car broke down, had to get towed all the way home, which was like 40-odd kilometers, which sucked. And my brother was like, hey, I'm getting over a head cold, but I can come pick you up and we can go see Ballerina like a week early, because we were meant to see it on the Thursday, but I saw 28 years later, and then we'll plan it for the next Thursday. And we just obviously didn't have to worry about that anymore because we watched it on the Saturday. I gave it 3.5 stars. I'm like, this is pretty fun. It's very much weirder as a John Wick film because it's, I know not about John Wick, but like it has a plot. Like a very obvious plot, you know? And it's just like everything about the plotting of it was like very basic, but then the action was beautiful, and the flamethrower fights made it so obvious where the stunt doubles was, and I thought that was fucking hilarious. I love the parts where they're not using guns. Like the gun fu stuff in the John Wick films is great, but I love it when they just don't use guns and they use other shit. Like when they're using ice skates to pelt each other in the face and whatever. That stuff is much more inventive. It's the Jackie Chan style of action fighting, and I fucking love it. So, down for that. Interested to see where they take the rest of this series. As I mentioned, I had to watch Michael Clayton, so I did that on the 22nd. I watched on SBS On Demand, which is not a streaming service I use very often, but hey, it's free. I would recommend it. You only get ads every once in a while, and it's like a TV ad. It's fine. It's like gives you like, here's 2 minutes of ads, then you get to watch half an hour, then here's another 2 minutes of ads. It's great. I gave this movie 4.5 stars. It is fucking incredible. It's so weird to watch a film like this. Like, it's the kind of film where you need to watch the style of film first, where it's very talk-heavy, kind of lawyer-centric, document kind of heavy movies. I think Patrick H. Willems just did a video on this kind of style. But it gets so fucking intense, and I was not expecting it to get as intense as it did. It's really well made. Like, Tony Gilroy, the guy who did Andor, is a great writer, great director. Just a really well shot, beautifully cast film. Great final scene, which again, my mate was like, hey, you haven't seen Michael Clayton yet. This episode of Poker Face spoils Michael Clayton, like the other episode did for Heat, but I'd seen Heat a couple of times, so I didn't really mind that. You got to watch Michael Clayton before you watch Poker Face. So I did that, and then I watched Poker Face immediately afterwards. I'm like, they literally show you the final scene of the movie. That sucks. So, yeah, big whoopsie for Poker Face. But Michael Clayton's good. 4.5 stars. I need to get a Blu-ray of it for certain. On the 22nd, the same day, I actually watched Dead Calm because I finally decided to get that signed by Billy Zane, which I've done a video on coming out soon where I talk about the stuff I've gotten signed by actors and directors and authors and stuff. I got my DVD signed because it's the best thing I could think of. I explain it better in that video, but still, yeah. Watched Dead Calm again. I hadn't seen it since we watched it a couple of times in high school because we were studying it in like year 12 of The Shining. Good film, fucking great thriller. Nicole Kidman's great. Sam Neill's great. Scary. A lot of dead bodies that are very naked. And Billy Zane's there. He's great. He's half naked, like shirtless the whole time. And he's sweaty. He's so fucking sweaty. Holy shit, is he sweaty? I gave it 4 stars. On the 23rd, I rewatched The Matrix because I have a reason why I've watched a lot of queer-centric films. Fucking wonder why. I'll probably do a video on that in July, which seems inappropriate because it's July, but it makes sense. It's like the January where I did like 28 Jalos in February, and then I had the video come out in March. That kind of stuff. I did the same thing for musicals this year, where I watched 40 fucking musicals in February. Anyway, rewatched The Matrix, gave it 5 stars. Watched the UHD. Looks incredible. What can I say? I haven't seen this for like a couple of years. I've watched it like almost every 2 to 3 years. I think if I look at my activity for it, I'd watched it in 2019, probably on 4K. 2021 in 35mm, where I introduced it to my partner, and she actually really liked it, which was great because I'm like was concerned because it's an action film. And then I, of course, rewatched it in 2025, which has been like 4.5 years. Holy shit. Anyway, it has a Night of the Lepus scene. I forgot about that. I didn't notice what that was until this time because I've seen Night of the Lepus. They referenced that movie. It's great. On the 24th, I went to the Astor, watched The Phantom. It was part of a Q&A Meet the Stars thing with Billy Zane. Got to get an autograph with him. Watched the whole him getting questioned by a bunch of losers. The regular, I'm an aspiring actor. I'm an aspiring director. Give me tips. I'm like, no, fuck off. Stop making it about you. Ask him what his favorite color is. For the love of God, make it interesting. But Zach was great. The guy who runs the Astor moderated it, and he immediately introduced it by asking him about being in Twin Peaks, which I was 100% there for. And then he asked him about his artwork right at the end, which was great. So good on you, Zach. You'll never watch this video, but good on you. And then I watched The Phantom. My friends left by that stage, so I was downstairs with a bunch of really rowdy crowd who really loved the film. And I'm like, I'm not into this kind of audience. I'm going to go upstairs because this angle is really bad for my back. So I went upstairs and watched it. I wasn't planning to because my car kind of also broke down on my way to the Astor, and I was really anxious about that, but I'm like, there's no difference in timing. If I leave before the movie starts or if I leave after, whatever happens, happens. So luckily, everything was fine and my car's been working fine since, but I still need to bring it to the dealership. Hooray! Love cars. They suck. Anyway, I gave the movie 3 stars. It's fine. I don't love the first act, but I do like the villain, like the really obnoxious American villain. He's really campy. Once you realize it's written as a satire by Joe Dante, but then directed straight, I'm like, yeah, you can see it. So, it's campy. Billy Zane's okay as the Phantom. It feels like the kind of movie that you could easily do a legacy sequel to now, like, oh, it's set 30 years later and Billy Zane's character is still alive, but he has a son now, even though the girl, despite being in love with Billy Zane's character, gets on a plane with Catherine Zeta-Jones. I'm like, if that isn't queer, I don't know what the fuck is. So they definitely were like, did some stuff. Anyway, I know it's the 30s and it's like, no, just because it's 2 hot women doesn't mean they're gonna be gay, but they should be. Anyway, especially because she's a bad guy, Catherine Zeta-Jones, who the good guy's like, the good female hero character is like, why do you have to be such a bitch all the time? Don't you think it's like kind of not progressive for your character? And she thinks for a second, she's like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't be such a bitch all the time. Pretty funny. So, yeah, I do like how each act was a different thing. You get your prologue, then you get your first act in the jungle, second act in New York, third act when they're trying to look for the other thing. I appreciate that. I like that as an adventure film kind of thing. It's cute. Very Indiana Jones. I dig it. On the 25th, I watched The Matrix Reloaded, which I gave 4 stars. Again, watched the 4K. It looks great. I was a bit bored by it at times. I think maybe because this one's very heavy on dialogue and lore building and philosophy, that I was just like not as inclined with it. But then the action scenes were good, but then you had the whole, like, I love when he fights all the hundreds of thousands of fucking Smiths, but I don't like, the rest of it. So I think the special effects CGI level of that gets a bit wonky when he's fighting all the Smiths. But the rest of the film is still fine, very interesting, very fun. I definitely should have watched the game cutscenes that lead into the movie or sequel the movie, what I'm pretty sure they lead into. I've played the game before, long ago, on PlayStation 2, so, like, Yeah, my 4K does have all those special features. I gotta get the Animatrix. And then I watched Matrix Revolutions, which I gave 4.5 stars. This one I just liked a lot more. It just was just straight up, just basically a pure action film. Just save Neo, fight the Sentinels, kill Agent Smith. That's the movie. 4.5 stars. It fucking slaps. It's got some great characters. Monica Bellucci, holy shit. Someone clearly saw her in the first. I know they made them back to back, but like, they cast her in the first one. She's great in the first one, but then the second one, they're like, what if we just give her a dress that really makes her boobs look big? It was just like, holy fucking shit. But yeah, good fucking banger film. Really keen to revisit Resurrection, which I'll have to watch next month, unless I can do it on Monday night. Ooh, we'll see. Anyway, what else did we watch? Okay, so we're not finishing the Matrix films, unfortunately. I'm waiting for the Animatrix to come in on Blu-ray, so I'm gonna wait to watch Resurrections in July. So you're gonna have to wait a month, or just, follow me on Letterboxd. Nevertheless, I continued the month of June with Fear Below, which is a 2025 film. It says 2024 on Letterboxd. Why the fuck does it say 2024? Anyway, who cares? It's a 2025 film. I watched the Melbourne premiere, I guess, at the Cinema Nova, with two of the cast members, which was great. This is Matthew Holmes' latest film. I did an interview of him back in February of 2024. So if you watched that interview show, I did a whole interview of him on Zoom because he just moved to Adelaide from being in Victoria for so many years. So when we finally got around to doing it, he'd already moved. I'm like, God damn it. Literally the week that he moved, I was ready to do it, and we just couldn't find any time. So anyway, so that's cool. I occasionally chat with him, which is great. I had no idea he had a new film coming out, but lo and behold, here it was. Two of the stars were actually there. One of them sat in the row in front of me after they both did a quick greeting before the movie started. Who were they? There was Maximilian Johnson and Arthur Angel. Arthur Angel I actually got a photo with afterwards because Maximilian had like a lot of his friends and family there. So they were all like crowding him. So I was like, that's cool. Well, Holly and I are just going to go anyway because we were going to stay for two films, but we're tired. It was a Friday night, whatever. It was only an 85-minute long film, which is great. I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. But then we ran into Arthur after the film because we were just walking up the same street and he had a red beanie and I was like, hey, I liked you in the film. He's like, oh, you went and saw that. So we had a brief chat. I mentioned how Matthew and I had done an interview last year and whatever, and yeah, and then Helene suggested we get a photo, so I got a photo of him. He was nice, really cool dude, just a nice local guy, and I've actually seen a couple of his other films before, which I didn't realise till after the fact, so he was in Upgrade and a couple others, so yeah, that was just nice, cool, nice to meet the guy who I had just watched on the big screen. But yeah, so I mentioned to Matthew as well, I messaged him on Facebook after the movie, because again, we're kind of friends. I mean, he's friends through my Collector Creations business account. So I should just add him on Facebook, but still. Yeah, so I messaged him saying how I liked the film. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a good character drama, it had some good comedy to it, a good array of characters within such a small cast, showcasing a good, range of Australian talent. And yeah, a lot of people were saying it was like Jaws but bad. I'm like, it's got nothing to do with Jaws. Firstly, this is in the Murray River. It's not at a fucking beach. You don't have some mayor being like, there's no shark here. It's got nothing. It's nothing like fucking Jaws. This is a bull shark. It's in cloudy, fucking muddy water. It's basically a heist film in a way. It's basically the mob accidentally drive their car into the Murray River and they're like, shit, we need, to get some divers in to, winch this shit out. We don't need the car, we just need all the gold that's in the car. And when they go down there, they get attacked by a female, potentially pregnant bull shark. And it's a big girl. And so that's where you get your tension underwater, because it's cloudy and you can't see shit, and they get attacked by a shark, which is great. But then above the water, they're against the mob, because the mob has hired them, but they're also the mob, so they're not great people. But I really enjoyed it. Don't know whether I could say as to how happy Matthew was with the final result of the film, but I would like to see whatever his final result of the film was meant to be, because apparently there was production problems. So, isn't that great? But I still enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. So I'm like, I really enjoyed what it was. I know it's not highly rated on Letterboxd. I don't give a shit. People, I think, saw a poster which is a small boat and a giant shark and expected The Meg or Jaws. And I'm like, yeah, that's a bad poster. I went with a different poster. Hopefully I can show the poster that I actually liked, which was the underwater diver in the old, because it's set in 1946 Australia, like in the old suit, and you got the cloudy water around them and the shark looming in the background. I like that poster. I think it gives it a better presence. So yeah. Anyway, on the 28th, I did a triple feature. Finally had a day off, holy shit, and my partner was over the whole weekend, so I introduced her to a couple films, and in trade she showed me a film that was inspired a sketch that Ariana Grande and the other girl from Victorious? Yeah, the other girl from Victorious did. They did like Halloween sketches every year where they go in full makeup and like pretend to be characters from a movie or whatever. They'd done a scene from Showgirls, which I didn't think they pulled it off, but they did one from Best in Show. But I'm going to get to Best in Show because we start with Bottoms. I wanted to show Helene Bottoms because I'm like, this was great. I finally can watch the Kino Blu-ray because I've been waiting 2 years to get it, or at least for it to come out on Blu-ray. Finally did. I gave it 4 stars. I loved it. Helene really liked it. Finally, it's great to watch this film with someone who fucking laughed during it. Because when I saw it in the theaters, there was like 8 other people in the cinema and no one fucking laughed. I'm like, why is no one laughing? This shit's hilarious. And I still believe it is very funny. So, yeah, it's great. It's a wonderful film. Good cast, great director behind it, great writers behind it. It's just fucking great. Like, I was expecting, I think I mentioned at the start of this month how I watched They've Never Been Kissed and how I don't like high school films. This is the opposite of that, because this is like got a kind of surrealist, cartoonish nature to it as well, where it's literally about these girls, these 2 lesbian girls who want, and they're like lesbian losers, so nobody likes them in general. Like, them being lesbian has nothing to do with them being losers. It's like 2 different categories, but they mix together. And they basically are just like, we're going to create a fight club because we're expecting this other school who are vicious people to come by and fuck up people. So if we create a fight club to train the girls to, do self-defense, then they can self-defense against these guys. And it just goes out of control, and it's fucking wonderful. They don't intend to make a fight club. They just want to get laid. So it's very funny. Super bad. If it was, I guess, better, maybe, questionably. I don't know. But still. Of course, then we have Best in Show, which I gave 3.5 stars. This one felt like a lesser version of Drop Dead Gorgeous, like very much in the same style of this. They're going to talk to the camera, a lot of satirical nature, like think of Great British Bake Off, shit like that, where you have the show stuff and then you have them actually talking to the camera separately. And this one for Best in Show is it's a dog grooming competition. Who's best groomed their dog, whatever. And it's got a great cast to it, a lot of good character actors and whatever. There's obviously a reason why Ariana Grande and whatever did their copy of this, because Jennifer Coolidge is in it, and she is very funny. It has a great cast. Jane Lynch is in it, Michael McKean, Catherine O'Hara, Parker Posey. So many fucking faces. You'd be like, oh my god, it's that guy. Oh my god, it's that girl. So many people. But it does feel like, at least to me, a neutered version of Drop Dead Gorgeous, because I think Drop Dead Gorgeous was just banger after banger of all of its jokes. Also, it goes well over the top in that movie. There's explosions, people dying, a lot of crazy shit. This movie is just... The comedy mostly comes from how quirky the characters are. Like, the situation of the dog grooming stuff doesn't really relate to the comedy as much. At least I didn't think it does. At least with Drop Dead Gorgeous, the beauty pageant is highly satirized, whereas in Best in Show, they don't have some crazy shit happen that makes one of the dogs fucking turn into a gigantic dog and start eating people. Like, none of that crazy shit happens. It's very plain, but the comedy comes from the cartoonish characters, and I appreciate that, because the cartoonish characters was what sold the movie for me. So, definitely worth recommending. I watched it on Amazon Prime. We had to rent it. So that was annoying, but it was $5, so whatever. Now, we were going to go out. We were going to go out and watch Bring Her Back, the new Australian film by the Racka Racka Boys. I wasn't in the mood for it. I had work the next day. It's cold. It's shitty weather. I don't trust my car to drive that far, at least not currently. So we were just like, all right, let's just do it on a different day, because it was a 9 p.m. screen. It's like, nah, fuck that. We'll go to the Cinema Nova. They've got plenty of screenings for it still. Popular cinemas like Village and Hoyts don't, which happens. It sucks, but that's how it goes. But I'm like, I don't know if I want to see that film in cinema. I kind of feel like it's I want to buy it on Blu-ray. I feel like it would be too heavy of a horror film for me to appreciate with an audience, but also to not have a panic attack. I feel like I'd need to pause it and stop, and I don't know. I get a lot of anxiety from a lot of modern horror films like that, so I don't really think I'm in the mindset for it. Nevertheless, instead we watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mentioned how I did Leatherface at the start of the month. Yeah, this is obviously Texas Chainsaw, the original. Helene had never seen it, so I was like, look, we're either going to watch Dawn of the Dead or we're going to watch Texas Chainsaw, and Texas Chainsaw is shorter, so let's watch Texas Chainsaw. She's seen the second film. We watched that for the first time together because it was at the Astor and they had a marathon of sequels. So that was our first time watching both of those. But she expected the first one to be cartoonish and comical like the original, and I had to preface it by saying, this one's a lot grittier. It's not really funny. I think it's funny on occasion because I've seen it several times. But she still really liked it. She didn't expect how fucked it would get by the second half of the movie, because it was very kind of mundane in the first half. It's still weird and got some kooky characters, but then yeah, it was like, oh shit, this gets hard and fast, and then it's done. So yeah, anyway, masterpiece, 10 out of 10, 5-star movie. There you go. Watch the second sight 4K because I'm not an amateur. Anyway, on the 29th I showed Helene Josie and the Pussycats, because we'd driven out to work. She drove me to my game, so I could film my game. Because I was like, I still don't trust that my car will make it. So let's take her car. But during the game, I was like, you know what? We either do Dawn of the Dead tonight, which again is 2 hours and something. I want to show her the Cannes cut, but I could just show her the theatrical. But it's still a very long film. So I'm like, what if I just show her Josie and the Pussycats instead, because that's like 90 odd minutes. So we did that, and I think it was a better choice. I still give that film 4.5 stars. I finally got to watch the Blu-ray version because I'd seen it on the Criterion channel a couple of years ago. Fucking loved it. And this was kind of enough in the same vein as Best in Show, but it was more of this would make a great double feature with Scooby-Doo 2002, because they're both kind of the same movie, adapting a cartoon character or comic book character into live action, and it's them getting it big, but also their antagonist is mind controlling the youth of America. So obviously they have different directions, where one has Parker Posey, who just wants to be popular. The other one is, hey, what if Ron Atkinson was actually Scrappy-Doo? It's fucking weird, but they both work in their different avenues. Nevertheless, I highly recommend Josie and the Pussycats. It is a great satire of just 90s, 2000s boy band, girl band culture, and just corporatized culture in general in America. It's very funny as a satire. Anyway, on the 30th, I did a double feature of Nowhere from 1997, which was the Greg Araki film. This is the third and final of his Teen Apocalypse trilogy. As I had mentioned, I watched the other two at the Astor a couple weeks ago. Didn't stay for the third film because I'm tired, and honestly, the end of the second film, Doom Generation, is such a fucking downer. I didn't really want to sit for another one of those. But it was on the Criterion channel, so I'm like, that's fine, I can watch it there. So I did. I liked it. I gave it 3.5 stars. I think it's better than the Totally Fucked Up. I don't think it's as good as the Doom Generation, because it's very messy, a lot of different characters. It feels like a Richard Linklater film if Linklater actually allowed his actors to get high and actually have sex and really be fucked up and not just be normal, because again, very 90s, not 70s. And because it has that 90s feel to it, it's very chaotic, very weird. There's a whole sex scene with Heather Graham where I'm pretty sure they're using some kind of chocolate syrup as lube. It's weird. There's some gross elements to it. There's some fucked up elements to it. Again, it's a Greg Araki film. That seems about right. But it was good. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I don't think I'd watch it again because honestly, I don't know if I want to watch any of these films again, this trilogy. But at the same time, I'd probably watch the Doom Generation again. And if I had to, I would watch Nowhere again. Fuck it, if I had to, I'd watch all of them again. But at the same time, I'm not running back to it anytime soon. I'll have to wait for Umbrella to do their 4K release or whatever they're doing later this year. Anyway, last but not least, we have The Umbrellas of Cherbourg. This is a 1964 musical, French musical by Jacques Demy, which I gave 4 stars. I thought it's a beautiful film. I again watched it on the Criterion channel because I'm like, do I want to get the UHD for $40? Or do I want to just watch it on the Criterion channel because I'm already paying for that? So I did that. And to be fair, this film would look absolutely incredible on a UHD disc. And I highly recommend that if you have seen the film before, get the UHD. Even though I haven't seen the UHD. If you haven't seen the film and you want to watch the film and you haven't got the Criterion channel, I highly recommend the UHD disc from Criterion because visually it is fucking gorgeous. The colours pop, it's so vivid, there are so many textures and colours and costuming and makeup designs and everything that just makes this film look incredible. It's set in Paris from like the late 50s through to the early 60s. And it's a romance in 90 minutes in 3-act structure, like literally part 1, part 2, part 3. And I'm not going to say what happens narratively because it's basically just a young couple fall in love and he has to go to the war because you get conscripted at the age of 20 and she's like 17 and then gets knocked up and things go crazy from there. But it's a musical. But it's not a traditional musical. To my knowledge, it's the first of its kind where they were just like, what if they just sang everything that they were saying? And this isn't like Evita or, Jesus Christ Superstar, where you have hit numbers, where every part of it feels like a song, and each song has to do with the characters or the narrative, and, they sing what they're saying to each other. This is just, they're just singing. But, it's not tap dancing, there's no showbiz numbers or anything. It's just like a regular film, but replacing all the dialogue with they just sing the dialogue. Which is very bizarre, but it also gives you this great jazzy beat to it. You got beautiful music accompanying it, the singing sounds good, it's French, so it's got subtitles anyway, so you don't have to fucking worry about what they're saying, because you can read it on the goddamn screen. Something I wish Evita had. But yeah, obviously it's not the kind of musical where I would go away from it thinking, like, humming a tune from it, because there is none. It's just people talking to each other. And I told that to my colleagues today, and one of them was like, was describing something to me, like, oh, let's get some baguettes, and then we'll have some coffee, and then we'll do... I'm like, that's literally it, but they were just singing that. Yeah, that's all it was, which it makes it very unique. So I highly recommend it, because it is just that distinct. But, yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching. See you kids next month, where I watch more movies. Also, stay tuned for interviews and other videos coming out this month. Bye!